Hey cooks, what's up? It's Wednesday, yay! And on the show today, we are gonna do the Amy Learns to Cook official kickoff to fall. Yep, fall is right around the corner. We just had Labor Day weekend. I hope you had a nice one, but we are screaming into the holiday season and we need to start getting ready. So join me as we kick off the fall season. So I hope you guys had a great Labor Day weekend. If you were out picnicking, if you were just staying in the house, cooked yourself something really nice. But now that Labor Day is over, it's time to start thinking about the holiday season. And the first thing we have coming up is fall. So I am getting ready to put out some fall decorations. I have a ton of stuff down in the basement. I brought a few things up just to play around with them a little bit. So we have our pumpkin season coming up, and this is a cast iron pumpkin that I got last year. It was on my budget tablescape video. I'll put a link down in the description to all my tablescapes. I'm starting to think about my tablescapes for both Thanksgiving or fall and for Christmas. So every year we've done a full out tablescape for both the holidays, and I really enjoy tablescaping. It is a little bit expensive, but there are some things you can do to help with that. So this is a little pumpkin that we got last year. This is made out of cast iron. Ooh, right? I use this as the centerpiece. I think I got this from QVC last year. It's a Cook's Essentials. I think this was like 30 bucks. But you don't have to go out and buy like really fancy things for Thanksgiving, because to me, Thanksgiving, you know, it's all about the food and being with friends and family. So if you just have stuff laying around the house or go to the dollar store, look at this silly little thing. What do you think about this? This is my little handiwork from the dollar store last year. And yeah, I know it is a little bit cheesy looking. What do you think about that, Eric?
Budget friendly.
I am not a crafter, so I went through my local Dollar Tree to try to find something for a little centerpiece, and this is what I came up with. All this came from the Dollar Tree. This is a little platter they had. This was $1. This was a little planter. Inside here I have some floral foam. That was $1. I have a little bit of this raffia hay looking stuff. That was $1. Each of these pumpkins were $1. And these little guys were $1. So what do you think about this? I actually used this one time before. I did a 4th of July tablescape, and I used this very thing, and I had some candles in here that were red, white, and blue, and I had some pinwheels in here that were red, white, and blue, and had a little sign that says America. So this little Dollar Tree thing has been used like 3 times already. And this is like a $6 decoration. So if you buy something like this, every season you could just take out these pumpkins and take out these little things and pop something in there for that occasion. So you have a centerpiece all year round for all kinds of stuff. Put some eggs in here, stick a little bunnies in there. Easter, right? Stick, if you're doing something for summer, right? Stick, you know, a chicken leg in there. I don't know. Something that looks for summer. But it is cheesy, but sometimes, you know, some things you put together for the holidays is cheesy. Particularly our Christmas decorations, right? Eric, in front of our yard, puts out all these things. Sometimes I'm like, it looks like a carnival out there. So just do it, right? Do your thing, whatever it is. I think I got this little sign at my local craft store. That's cute, right? Happy Harvest. You can even have this, use this as a little centerpiece. Get 2 of them. One for each, like this, so they'll be at each side of the table. But I think this was like 40% off, and I think I paid like $5 for it. So, yeah, it says $12.99, but I think I got a 40% off. So that wasn't too bad for a decoration. I'm trying to get some ideas for my table this year. I have no idea what direction I want to go to. The last 2 years I've used place settings from Pier 1. One has a bunch of flowers on it, and another one, I think it's called Ashford Leaves or something like that. Another was more green and brown. I used that one year. I'll put links in the description so you can see them. Not sure where I want to go this year. I need to get some inspiration. So if you have any inspiration for me, right, go ahead and leave a comment in the description, or join my Facebook group and post some pictures that you've done or you've seen from the web or whatever. Maybe some dinnerware, decorations. Let me know what you like, and I'll put something together that'll be really nice this year. So I got my little cocktail. Erica made me that. So I have a couple books to show you this week. One is really interesting. You're going to get a kick out of it, and you're going to be amazed. One is one of my favorite, and we'll get to that in just a second. This book, I actually don't know what's in here. Sometimes I go through these crazy spurts where I'm on the internet and I order a bunch of books. Well, I did this a couple months ago, because, you know, you can get pretty nice used books on there for like $3. So I just went through one day and I was like, that one, right? And I found out that I had this sitting upstairs in my cookbook library, and I haven't opened this. So I have absolutely no idea what's in this. I've had this for months. So your guess is as good as mine as to what is in here. Oh, Royal Box Cutter.
Here you are, my lady.
Thank you. A little on the old side there, man. I don't want to cut the book, though. Gotta be careful. So, I don't know what this is, so it's possible that I might totally embarrass myself. Because I literally have no idea what's in this. Let's see. Oh, yay. Awesome.
Christmas in September?
Yeah. You know, I wanted this and I didn't realize that I had ordered it. And it keeps coming up as like a reminder. Because I checked this out of the library one time and I was like, I want to get my own copy. This is actually a library copy. Baltimore County Public Library. Interesting. It is a library copy. So this is a history of the American Cookbook. And I love cookbooks, and I love vintage cookbooks as well as modern ones. I think, you know, one issue I kind of have with vintage cookbooks is it really depends on when the cookbook was written. Because there was a time with American cookbook writing, and you guys probably know this, when it creeped up into the 70s and there was like this mass explosion of pre-packaged food. And it's kind of difficult because some of the recipes in a lot of those cookbooks from that era bring forth a lot of convenience food. You know, the crock pot came into fashion, and almost every crock pot recipe you come across, the base of it is like cream of something soup, right? Cream of mushroom, cream of chicken. It's hard to find recipes that, you know, crock pot recipes from that era that don't start with that. So, I mean, I like it for the historical value, and there's a lot of dishes that you can take from that and modernize that for our current tastes. Sometimes it's a challenge, but, you know, getting away from the processed food end of it and going back and creating that dish, you know, from fresh ingredients like our tastes prefer nowadays. That's the fun of it. But it's also, it's history. So those cookbooks are interesting. But this book here talks about the American Cookbook from the beginnings, how we started out with basic recipe exchanging. And then the first cookbooks were starting to be published. Wow. In the History and Present State of Virginia, which was first published in 1705, Robert Beverly gives firsthand observation of the cookery practices and foods of the Indians in that area. He discusses the Indian way of cooking meats. This book is fantastic. I checked it out of the library, and I really didn't have a chance to go through it before I needed to return it. But so I'm glad to have my own copy because I can take my time with it. Even has a lot of images of a lot of cookbooks. Betty Crocker, when that whole thing came out. The Betty Crocker picture cookbook, I think, is one of the best-selling cookbooks of all time. Yeah, the Betty Crocker's picture cookbook, first published in 1950, represents the big general cookbooks published by a reliable company that delivers well-tested recipes and updated editions through the decades. It's like the History of the Joy of Cooking, James Beard. This book is fantastic. I can't wait to just dive into it. Nice section on the history of how the joy of cooking. Talked about this chapter 14 is the most influential cookbooks of the 20th century. I can't wait to dig into this book. So this is A History of the American Cookbook by Carol Fisher. I'll go ahead and I'll put a link to that in the description. Tasty. So along with tart too. That's, oh my gosh, sweet potato pie, molasses pie, apple butter pie, shoe pie, lemon chess pie. Okay. So along with this chapter 14, the most influential cookbooks of the 20th century, there's a cookbook out there that was written that a lot of people don't know about. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of people that say, and I'm not 100% to that point where I'm saying this yet, because I've only cooked one recipe out of it, so I don't have a lot of experience, and it is a very challenging book. But a lot of people argue that this book that I'm getting ready to show you is one of the best cookbooks ever written. And you can say, wow, how can you ever say that a cookbook is like the best cookbook ever written? If you think about, if you would say, what is the best cookbook that I think was ever written? You would think of like The Joy of Cooking, Mastering the Art of French Cooking, something like that. But a lot of people argue that this cookbook is up in that realm. And it's sort of by an interesting author. I think you guys are going to be very surprised who wrote this book. You're going to be shocked, actually, because I was actually a situation where I was in a room full of chefs. I was at a cooking school, and I was in a room full of chefs. And I was talking about, because they all know I'm a cookbook fanatic. And I was talking about this book, and they, number one, nobody had really ever seen or heard about this book. And afterwards, a bunch of them ran to the internet and ordered it and said, the book is fantastic. And it is by someone that you will never, ever guess in a million years.
You want to give a hint?
You want a hint? Eric, you know who this is.
I know, but do they want a hint?
Do you want a hint? Let's see. Let me give you a hint. Halloween. That's a hint. Scary voice. That's a hint. Thriller.
Thriller videos?
That's a hint. You probably should know who I'm talking about by now.
The very end of Thriller.
Yes. This book is a treasury of great recipes, and it's written by Mary and Vincent Price. Yes, Vincent Price wrote one of the best cookbooks that has ever been written. This cookbook is beloved by people all over the place, and it was recently reprinted by Marion Vincent Price's daughter. This book is incredible. That's all I got to say. And if you don't know too much about Vincent Price, you probably know him for the movies and for Michael Jackson and the Thriller thing. But I can tell you one thing about Vincent Price. He was the original foodie. Vincent Price loved art. He had one of the best art collections in a private collection. He was a connoisseur of art and of food. So Vincent was a gourmet and a foodie, but Vincent's wife, Mary, was described as Martha Stewart before Martha Stewart. They would host these parties and they would invite people from all walks of life, and their love of food and their cooking was absolutely incredible and top-notch. They described one dinner party that they had that Mary wanted bronze plates and she couldn't get them. So she sent out all her plates, set the plates to somebody to have them bronzed. This is who Mary Price was. She was Martha Stewart before Martha Stewart. And some of the pictures that are in this book, they're dated, of course, but they are incredible. So what A Treasury of Great Recipes is basically Vincent and his wife traveled the world, and he was known for eating at the finest restaurants all over the world. And what he did, because of his personality, he was friends with a lot of these chefs, and he pretty much friended them and got a hold of some of their prized recipes that were served in their restaurants. So A Treasury of Great Recipes is filled with the recipes from those great restaurants. They were all cooked and tested by Vincent Price. And so the way this book is organized is it's organized based on country and then by the restaurant they visited. So each of these has the recipes from the restaurant, but it also has a copy of the restaurant's menu. And these are fantastic. If you don't do anything else with this book is like, it's a foodie's carnival, right? I love looking at this book just for the information that is in here, because I can tell you the recipes in this book are at a very challenging level. There's a lot of ingredients that you don't eat on a regular basis, but there are a lot of really approachable, easy to approach recipes. So it's sort of this mix of these really gourmet recipes and things that, you know, the average everyday cook can do. So this is an example of one of the menus. This was at the Four Seasons. And it even has the prices. And we were looking at this and me and Eric were laughing because this is the menu for that evening. A lot of these restaurants have like different menus each evening. And this evening's entrees is roast sirloin of beef with tomato Provençal for $6.50. Lamb steak in curry with mango rice, $5.85. Sirloin steak or filet mignon, served for one, $7.50. Served for two, $15. Can you imagine getting filet mignon for two for $15? Lobster and shrimp and zucchini with a sauce Vincent is $6. Then you can add side dishes on there. You can get new potatoes for 95 cents, beignets for $1.35. This is amazing to me. So the book talks about the restaurant, gives you a picture. That must have been the Christmas tree at the restaurant that year. So the first part just gives you some information about the restaurant. If there's one restaurant that epitomizes New York today, it's the Four Seasons. Sophisticated, expensive, its stark geometry reflects a city of skyscrapers. Nature is permitted to intrude, as it does on the city itself, in seasonal plantings that scarcely affect the architecture. New Yorkers who dine at the Four Seasons know which season has arrived by the plants in the window baskets. Who needs a calendar? He is great. So the recipes run the gamut. You have Vermont cheese soup, which is not a difficult recipe. Crisp shrimp with a mustard fruit. Veal medallions. Beef bourguignon. Yum. And look at this. I mean, this is like, this book was written in the 60s, but look at that. That's dining, guys. That is dining right there. This picture here is absolutely amazing. This is Vincent and Mary Price in their kitchen. And if you ever saw those original pictures of Martha Stewart when she started her show, and she had a kitchen that the ceiling was completely covered in baskets hanging from the ceiling. Their kitchen was, you know, it's number one, it's huge. This is Mary working on this. This must be their island. This is Mary working on this side of the island, and here's Vincent right here preparing his dish. The whole island has a giant square pot rack all the way around with all this copper cookware hanging from it. That is unbelievable. Of course, it's out of date for but look at the floor. Look at I love this. Vincent is amazing. Right in the middle, I don't know what this is right in the middle, but who has a kitchen like this? Right in the middle of their island, they have a dome, a cake dome here that looks like it has cheese or something in it. And there's a giant, I don't know what this is. It's like a giant beverage server right here. It's like in the middle of their island, they have this thing. That is crazy. I mean, this is just amazing. Restaurant de la Pyramide. This is, if you ever run across a copy of A Treasury of Great Recipes. Let me look. It first was written in 1965. This is the 1977 printing. If you were to get an original, like, first run of a 1965 edition of this, it's probably several $100s. The 75 edition, you can find these for probably $40, $50, good condition. I've never seen this book in good condition that was under like $35. But it runs the gamut. Everything from pristine, original, could be several hundred. But their daughter has brought out a new edition of this in the last year or so. So I think you can get it on Amazon. I'll put a link in the description for about $25. But it's the new reprint of it. Everybody was asking her to do it. And finally, she was able to get a publisher to come along and print this. But this book, I'm so glad that they brought it back. But this is kind of like the Good Cook Time Life book. I really wish they would bring that back. So A Treasury of Great Recipes was Vincent and Mary Price's first book. They then published another book that was in 5 books in one. And then they eventually took that and printed it as one single book. And this is called Come Into the Kitchen Cookbook. And this is by Mary and Vincent Price. Look at this. You gotta love. Look at these little illustrations in here. This copy it's good, but it's not great. It's got some stains on it. What's interesting about this book, and these are all his original recipes. What's interesting about this book is it basically covers eras. So each section is a different era. So the first is recipes of early America. So you're talking beef stews, chowders, oysters, chicken pudding. So this is really early American. The Johnny cake, recipes of the young republic. So this is when our country was, starting to grow. Gumbo, succotash, corn casserole, eggs and tomatoes, griddle cakes. The antebellum America. So you're moving on to fried trout, roasted pig, sweet potatoes. The Westward Empire. Minestrone, chili, Mexican beef. See how that kind of changes as they're moving west? Spanish beans, corn, fritters, Western omelets. Victorian America. You have crab, braised beef. These are, calf's liver, tripe. I don't eat that. Modern America. You got vichyssoise, crab louis, tuna casseroles, cream sauces coming in, turkey casseroles, eggplant parmesan. These just sound Caesar salad. And then they talk about wine in America and winemaking in the home. You ever thought about making your own wine?
Make my own beer.
Wow. This offering of heritage recipes is neither a primer or an encyclopedia of American cookery. It is rather a sample of treasures from the past, time-tested, handed down for generations before they ever became embalmed between the pages of a printed book and reduced to chemical formulas. These recipes are traditional in certain areas and periods, with groups of different foreign origin. We have come a long way since the early days of America. Now an Indian pudding may be bought in 1-pound cans instead of pickling, smoking, curing bacon in today's urban America. It can be acquired more simply in a neat cellophane package. But in food, tradition is persistent. Boston is still the land of the bean and the cod. New Yorkers can wax emotional over tomatoes in the chowder. And throughout the South, there are 2 mortal sins: trampling on the Confederate flag and putting sugar in the cornbread. I love this book. This book is fantastic. Chowders, awesome. So if you ever run across a book, you can get these used on Amazon. Come to the Kitchen. This actually was reprinted too. I think I saw a modern version of this. This book is intact, but it's a little on the rough side, but I still love it. So this is Come Into the Kitchen Cookbook by Vincent Price. This is a Treasury of Great Recipes, and this book is a treasure by Vincent Price. And this is my newest, History of the American Cookbook by Carol Fisher. The cover for this book is a little rough, my Come to the Kitchen Cookbook. So I don't know. Maybe in the future I'll get a better copy. But yeah, it's a great book. Look who came to visit. It's Captain Beaky. Hi, Captain Beaky. How have you been? I haven't seen you all year. Whoop. That's my gobbling. So, how you been? You've been down in the basement. You glad to come out that it's fall? That doesn't sound like go. Thanksgiving's right around the corner. What do you think about that? Oh, that's nice. So what do you have to say to everybody out in YouTube land? Don't kill the turkey. Eat chicken. So I'm glad you're back, Captain Beaky. He got his name one year when we first started doing videos. We put a call out for a Name That Turkey contest, and my good friend Allie, she named the turkey Captain Beaky. So if you've never heard of Captain Beaky, go ahead and Google him because he's kind of an interesting character.
Especially the summer of 1980. Better them than us.
Yay, Captain Beaky! Happy fall, everybody. I hope you're getting all your stuff ready to go for the fall season. We're looking forward to it. I hope you had a great Labor Day. And say bye, Mr. Captain Beaky. I hope you had a great one. Happy Labor Day. If you like this video, please subscribe below. Leave me a comment and a like for me and for Captain Beaky. And visit my website at amylearnstocook.com. I'm also on Twitter and Pinterest at Amy Learns to Cook. On Facebook, I'm at facebook.com/groups/Amy Learns to Cook. And on Instagram, I'm at Cooking with Amy. I'm not very good at that. Bye.
I can't believe it. Thanksgiving in September.
He's got a cute tail. He says, don't look at my backside. Okay, Captain Beaky. So join us as we kick up. Oh,